So, good evening to all our listeners and the lovers of truth. And greater good evening to all the people who share our posts and who follow us diligently to listen to most of the videos we produce. May it be well with you, and as you listen, may you understand.
Yes,
Today,
sir.
we're going to talk about world politics and world reset that is happening around the world, as it also affects Africa. So, we're actually going to start from somewhere. Where I'm going to start from is I'm going to talk about history. I'm going to talk about history of Israel. I'm going to talk history of Palestine. I'm going to talk about history of Russia, the Soviet nation, and then I'm going to talk about the roles Britain and America has played in world peace. And then I'm going to talk about how all these things relate to Africa today. This video may be long, but it will be worth listening to because it will be mental opening. Like it will give you a lot of deep knowledge of the world politics because the world politics affects every one of us. Because all decisions in the world are determined by world politics. What we eat, our health system, our leadership structure, our educational system, our lives, everything that all the time, all these things are all determined by world politics. Now, what do I mean? What is happening in Russia has actually been prepared for since after the Second World War. After the Second World War, USSR, the Soviet nation, was the second greatest conglomerate of nations in the whole world. And they were as powerful that they are the only ones that can, they are the only ones that can, they are the only ones
We're doing something.
they are the only ones that
Focus.
can be they are the only ones that can actually stand America. So what did America do? America connived with British and other alliances, and then they broke USSR. How did they break USSR? Disinformation. Disinformation. How do the America control the world? America controls the world through their media channels, through CNN, through BBC, through NBC. They broadcast information, wrong narrative, and energy drive around the world. It is now from here that they determine what happens in the world. Now they were able to deceive the USSR that Russia was too intimidating and oppressing and all of that, and they brought enmity between brothers and let them know that they will grow better if they grow as individual nations. That USSR was a combination of too many nations and all of that. They divided them. After they divided them, they exchanged science and there was equal technology with some of these USS nations, and then they gave them independence and told them that they will grow as individual nations. I think even though they may grow as individual nations, but if there was a connection that held them together as a kind of united nations that protect the general interest of themselves under one umbrella, it would have been better. Just like we are admonishing Africans to be United States of Africa, even though they may be individual nations in it, but we are all unilaterally united in one interest for the survival of Africa. This is the same thing that United States is doing. United States is a coalition of many nations because only California can even fund the GDPI of all African nations. But they still brought themselves together under one unit to stay as together as one, because if people stick together, they cannot be easily broken. So when they broke USSR, the target was Russia. What did they do? They brought all these other nations that were formed under NATO and told them we will always protect you in the eventuality of attack. And then who did they start pointing at to be the problem? They started pointing Russia to be the problem.
That's true.
They made Russia to look like the problem. Always you. That is true. But if you check the history of the world, Russia has never colonized any nation of the world.
Not one.
Russia has never stolen anything from anybody in the world. If there was any name to call holy, Russia is a holy nation. But they made Russia look evil. In the films they produce to us, they will make you see Russia agents to be evil agents. Russia agents trying to bomb America. Chinese agents trying to infiltrate the security of America. These were the films they were producing for us. They were programming our brain to think that Russia and China are the evil people. Meanwhile, the evil people are the ones who made us look like as if they are our brothers. The evil people are the people, the Britain, the Germans, the people who came and divided Africa like pork meat. They cut Africa on the table during the Berlin Conference and divided us like small meat nations. They are the evil people. But they pretended to be the good people through their media, their CNN, their BBC and whatever. But they are the ones that are destabilizing Africa, causing insecurity. Do you see all these Fulani Marudas that you are seeing? Who is arming them? It is the Western nations. What they do is that if they come to your land, they will put terrorism there so that they will be grabbing land and then locking up all the areas where there are natural resources so that they will come back to those areas and then steal those natural resources. They put insecurity in the form of terrorism. What happened in Rwanda and there was DR Congo? Brothers and brothers, the Sutis and the other tribes started fighting each other, killing each other because of the cobalt and the natural resources that are in DR Congo and Rwanda. Who later settled the problem? The same people who caused the problem settled the problem last month. Sure. Under a deal that it must be American companies that must be extracting natural resources and paying Congo. Meanwhile, they've already used insecurity to cause long-age civil war, broken the people, destroyed their land, and then come and steal their natural resources. Are Africans wise? Are we listening? Do we know who is our brother? Now, see what they did. So after they broke the Soviet nations, before I digress, now the target was Russia. Russia signed a treaty with them that America should never, and the interest of NATO should never encroach some meters closer to Russia for the safety of Russia, because Russia is one of the world powers. But during this bidding tenure, they breached that contract. What did they do? There was a president that was in Ukraine that had affiliations with Russia and that was closer to Crimea. What was this president doing? He was just living with Russia like their own brothers. Bilateral relations and foreign policies were to favor Russia because they feel like they are brothers. No encroachment, nobody was disturbing each other. Until Americans brought, what's his name? Zelensky, who is an international recognized comedian that does comedy wearing only pants and sleeves and behaves like woman and dances Atlanta. And at the end, they were able to convince and confuse Ukrainians that Zelensky will make a good president. How can you put a comedian to become a president of a nation? And then they pushed their agenda. What was their agenda? To wage war against Russia, to break Russia. If you don't know the news, you'll be saying pray for Ukraine. Pray for Ukraine. How do you pray for a Mumu nation? Do you know Russia is fighting war not just against Ukraine. Russia is fighting war against the whole of Europe because Germany supplies weapons, Sweden supplies armored, different parts of the world, both America, they are all supplying weapons, fighting only Russia. Why? Just because Russia said there should be security guarantees that there should not be encroachment close to us and that Ukraine should never join NATO. Zelensky, who is the comedian, was used to join Ukraine to NATO, to sign documents, to sign. Hey, when will people wake up and know who is the world problem? What do they do in Middle East? Because that is the one I know Nigerians, you don't want us to talk about that one. Because you want to hear of what is it called? Terrorist, Islamic jihadist that kill people and do all that. Do you know what causes those problems?
A lot.
Yes, see what causes the problem. They use religion to cause the problem, then create a terrorist set of that religion. People who are more radical than what their religion preaches and all of that, who are more radicalized. You now see, you know when you want to take somebody's land and you have armored car and that person does not have armored car and that person is the indigenous owner of that land you want to take, that person goes to pick weapon and starts fighting kangaroo war, and that kangaroo war they now call it terrorism. Even though it carries terrorist traces, it is because you forced these people with no choice. Because the airplane you have, they don't have it. They fight you through kangaroo terrorists. They can say I'm supporting terrorism. I'm not supporting terrorism, but the truth is that what is Israel doing in the Middle East? How was Israel formed? Who are the current day Israelites and Jewish people? What is the biblical or historical beginning of Israel? That God promised Abraham a land that belongs to another people and told him to leave his own father's land. That is where they dragged the Europeans, Poland, and these people, Romanians, and they came to become Islamic Zavika and this and started wearing their head and whatever. How can you form a nation in a region that is not associated with anything Jesus or Christian? that God promised Abraham a land that belonged to people. So your God is a cheatful God. A land that was owned by people. You felt Israel now was too holy. And the sons of Abraham were too holy to deserve that land. And so you must wipe them and give it. Are you serious? Who brought the parameter for that holiness? Because somebody concocted his own book during the time of Constantine and established an empire here so that they can disturb the peace in the Middle East. Most of the terrorist activities that are happening in the Middle East are caused and controlled by America.
That's true.
They set up this organization, fund them. Look at Syria. Syria was growing as one of the best economies of the world during the time of Assad. If you see Syria, Syria was a destination for, what is it called? Tourism. Very beautiful. They raised a rebel group and said they were against the government of this man, Assad, and they started attacking during the time of Obama. And they funded a lot of money to those terrorist fighters. And they started war against Assad. Do you know, if you see Syria now, Syria is a desolate land. And they ousted the president. They later removed that Syrian president, Assad. And then the leader of Syria now is a terrorist who bargains oil deals because Syria has high oil. Oh God. When these people come to your land, they destroy your land. See what is happening in Southeast and Nigeria. They try to bring different nations together, put them together to live together, put confusion, put media disorientations among them, put different religions among them. While we are fighting, Islams are fighting with Christians, and Christians are fighting against who will ride against each other. While Yorubas are in confusion with Igbo, because two of them are not competing at the same level. While there is tribal differences and confusion, the white man is eating us, striking deals with our leaders, and taking our oil and natural resources. While we that are now fighting are the, oh God. These people play a game on every one of us. So while Russia is fighting Ukraine and trying to stand for their integrity and stand for their dignity and stand for what Russia is known for, they started striking the Middle East, the Gazans, the Palestinians. Why did Palestinians go to Israel to go and adopt people during October 7? Do you know that Benjamin Netanyahu was aware that Hamas was into revolutionary activities? They allowed the transfer of 1.4 billion US dollars from Qatar to sponsor Hamas so that they get enough weapons. They were ready. So that Hamas will be fighting with Palestinian government, which is the independent state of Palestine, that had a leadership structure. Why they are fighting against the kind of revolution they want to do and the kind of freedom fighting, they were not united with each other. Then they allowed Hamas. When Hamas was planning to come and kidnap Israelis and all of those things, Israel had all the security intel, but they kept quiet so that it would be opportunity to turn Gaza to a desolate land and grab the land.
Evil.
Benjamin Netanyahu is also being accused of what is he called? Remove this ethnic cleansing, apartheid, and then genocide and all. Badly corrupt man. Israel Supreme Court that is trying him now. Benjamin Netanyahu wants to remove the chief judge of the nation so that they will not try him for his corruption charges, because the woman is also one of the legal aides that are challenging, what's his name?
Benjamin Netanyahu.
What is happening in Ukraine? Ukraine president had to pass law through the House of Senate that the individual bodies that are investigating crimes and investigating his crime for all the money he received in from America, he dissolved those financial crime bodies, independent, dissolved the two of them and said that they must work under the control of the presidency. And Ukrainians revolted 3 weeks back, and that is why he reversed it. America was sending money. Ukrainian president is looting and stealing. He's not giving good record of all the money that was spent. And America now comes back again and says, you must give us all your natural resources so that we'll continue fighting with you. Are you not a fool? At the end, your natural resources are taken. Major cities and states have been taken by Russia. Your land is desolate. You are foolish. While Americans are eating you up and taking your natural resources and signing deals to... What is happening? Why is there no peace in the world? Who is the cause problem? When will Africans know who is their enemy and who is their friend? Look at the partnership Russia is giving to Africa. We want to help you develop solar energy. This is what we want in return. We want to help you bring scientists that can help you build your road. This is what partnership. But Americans will institute bad leadership through democracy so that you all will be in confusion and elect. Look at all the people that are leading Africa. 92 years, 84 years, 76, old government who has stayed in power more than 20 years. Why is America keeping quiet to those people? Why are they keeping quiet to all those democratical alterations and the tenure elongations? Because those people are their puppets, including France. Look at what is happening in what is it called, Cote d'Ivoire. They ousted the former man who was not signing deals with them and put in this new one and called that man that he's a killer. Is this narrated stories against him, used media, ousted him, put in this new one. This new one has served 2 terms now, filled with corruption. Cote d'Ivoire is banned in corruption, and he's seeking for the election for a 3rd time against the normal procedure. And you're surprised his funders, France, will also support him. When will Africans get wise? When will you know who is your friend? The people who brought you Christianity during the civil war here in Biafra, they were giving us food and cloth and health supplies. While they were giving war ammunition to Fulani and Benuans and the Yorubas to come and masquerade and kill us, supplying helicopters to them. When will Christians know who is their lover? When? When will Africa read history to know who is saying the truth and know who is the evil? When will Africa know who they should align with? When will Africa know who is their friend and who is not their friend? These questions will come in the next section. There are other lessons to teach about this world politics and history. We will teach them in the subsequent videos that will be coming, because this is one of the longest we've produced. Thank you. Once again, my name is Maaze Package. And then our account on Twitter is Awaken the Black Man Foundation. On TikTok, Awaken the Black Man Foundation. On Instagram, Awaken the Black Man Foundation. On YouTube, Awaken the Black Man Foundation. On Facebook, Maaze Package, but we're also switching to Awaken the Black Man Foundation. And very soon, we will be upgrading these sites. Maybe by next week, you have these accounts anchored online, and you could follow us and join us where we deliberate and talk about African liberation and history telling. I am your brother again, Maaze Package, and we are here to awaken the black man. If you follow me and follow me attentively and share my videos, we will awaken the black man. It is a task and a duty that is in the hands of many of us. There are other people that are already speaking. This is the role I want to play. Thank you very much for your time, and you have a wonderful night. Bye.